July is here, and after a pretty quiet month in June for sneakers, this month looks to be crazy. And because it is a new month, I'm gonna play double up, buy once, or pass. Now the concept is simple. If I love a shoe, I give it a double up. If I like but don't love a shoe, it's a buy once, pass, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Disclaimer, this month is already crazy, so I couldn't cram every single shoe that's releasing in July. There's also some shoes that are probably released in July that haven't been announced yet, so I won't be able to include in this video. However, this month, it's already crammed. Here we go. First up, dropping on July 1st, are two pairs of New Balance 9060s, the Beach Glass Pink as well as the Prism Purple. Now the 9060 is a relatively new silhouette for New Balance, released in 2022. Some people love it, some people think the silhouette is a little bit too much. I like it, don't love it. I happen to own one pair of the 9060s, it's the Cherry Blossoms. I really like the colorway, and of course, being New Balance, the materials are really nice on that shoe, and the comfort, it really fits my wide feet really well. Both these shoes seem to come with leather overlays with a mesh-based layer, and my favorite thing about the 9060 is probably the heel stabilizer that you see on the heel counter. I don't know if it really has much practicality or much function, but I like the look of it. Now the 9060 comes with the Absorb midsole. That's basically New Balance's proprietary EVA foam, and I happen to really like it. I think it's very lightweight, the cushioning is very decent. Now the reason why I got the Cherry Blossoms is because it's a very simple colorway, and I really like simplicity. I don't like things that are too loud, especially on shoes. And these two shoes, there's a lot of colors on both these pairs. So on the Beach Glass Pink, I can see blue, yellow, green, red, pink, white, black. The Prism Purple, I can see purple, black, orange, yellow, blue, neon. Too much for my liking. I'm not cool enough to pull it off. It's too loud for me. So for both these pairs, I'm gonna give them a pass. Dropping on July 6th for $240 is the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Metallic Red. This colorway originally dropped in 2012. That was pretty much the peak of Foamposite hype. That was when the Galaxies dropped. However, this shoe came back in 2017, and I happen to think this colorway is one of the better Foamposite colorways. The Foamposite, if you didn't know, was inspired by the shape of a beetle. So you see that upper sole, the texture and the way it's shaped, it's supposed to resemble a beetle's shell. And to this day, it's just one of the most unique designs in all of sneakers. And the reason why Foamposites are more expensive than any Jordan brand shoe is because of the production process. So polyurethane has to be heated up to, I think it was 175 Fahrenheit, and then it has to be poured into a very expensive mold for it to cool down and then eventually take its shape. So that expensive mold is why you see Foamposite being $240. Super expensive shoe. However, I will say the upper sole is very, very durable. It's like stiff, but when you press on it, it's like a bit of rubbery kind of feeling to it. Still has some give, but it just is such a durable shoe. Now, I've never really loved the Foamposites. I do like the shoe, so when I see a really nice colorway that I like, I always go for it. I have the Penny PEs from earlier this year. I also have the Dornbeckers, and I really happen to like this shade of red. I think that metallic look, almost like with a glare and reflective look that it has going on, I really, really like it. My favorite part about the Foamposite, however, is the icy translucent outsole, as well as the carbon fiber shank plate. Really love both those things, but one thing a lot of sneakerheads don't love is that in 2023, a lot of the Foamposites, the eye stays, they've replaced the OG Nubuck with leather. Personally, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think it's such a small minor change. You can barely notice it from a distance. Obviously, if you want to be a complete OG purist, you want the original Nubuck on the eye stays. I don't really mind it. The leather still looks nice. Usually it does come with that tumbled leather. Not a significant change enough for me to not buy a Foamposite. I do have a review of this shoe coming up, so of course, I'm gonna give this shoe a buy once. Next up, on July 7th for $110 is the Ja 1 Ember Glow. Now Ja Morant from the Memphis Grizzlies, obviously he's been in a bit of trouble lately. However, his last colorway, the Ja 1 Hunger, I think that was what it was called, that still sold out instantly. There was a lot of speculation that Nike would not actually release that shoe. It still did, sold out instantly, so people still love Ja Morant. In my opinion, he's probably the most fun and exciting young player to watch right now in the NBA, and I do have his Ja 1 Day 1 shoe, the very first colorway of his signature shoe. I haven't been able to ball in them, my knees and back are just completely gone at this point. However, just wearing it casually, it does feel very nice. It's such a super lightweight shoe, and I generally do like the silhouette. Now the colorway of the shoe, that ember red color, I think it's very unique. Now you also see Ja Morant's number 12, on the heel of the shoe. Now my favorite thing about the Ja 1 is how the swoosh from both sides, they wrap around and meet around the heel counter. I think that's a really cool touch, as well as his logo on the tongue, as well as the insole. Personally, I think the Ja Morant logo is super clean, super creative, and overall me just being a fan of Ja Morant's game, I think the silhouette is very clean, this colorway is super unique. I'm gonna give this shoe a buy once. Next up, on July 8th, for $130 is the Tuli Yaido Adidas Forum 84 High. Now Tuli Yaido is a designer of Jamaican heritage. The colors on this shoe are inspired by her Jamaican roots, and there's a bunch of colors and materials on this shoe. And the overall design is also inspired by Yaido's famous knot and keijo bags. So this shoe comes with a white leather and faux pony hair base. And you also see the detachable cowhide straps. And on the stripes, 3 famous Adidas stripes, comes, according to articles, in blue and red ostrich embossed leather. Super unique. Now this shoe is going to be a limited release, and overall the silhouette, I do like the Forum Highs. I think it's a pretty timeless and classic silhouette. However, the colors on the shoe, just similar to the New Balance 9060s at the beginning of this video, it's just a bit too much for me. So for this shoe, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give it a pass. Next up, on July 11th for $130 is the Jordan Luka 2 Space Hunter. Now this is Luka's second shoe in the Jordan brand lineup. The Space Hunter apparently is a reference to how Luka searches for space to either drive to the rim or look for his teammates. I guess that makes sense, but you also see like a space themed colorway on the upper sole. So I guess there's like 2 meanings to this shoe. Now the Luka 2 comes with Formula 23 foam as well as an isoplate midfoot system. So Formula 23 is essentially Jordan Brand's proprietary lightweight foam. So that's designed for responsiveness and cushioning. And an isoplate midfoot essentially wraps the lateral forefoot to increase stability of the shoe. And you'll see that on the raised sidewall on the upper sole. This shoe also incorporates the use of Cushlon, and that's Nike's proprietary foam that is soft but also very resilient. And there's a Latin phrase on the heel of the shoe. I'm not gonna pretend to know I can pronounce that, but in English it means never give up, never surrender. And Luka Doncic actually has that tattooed on his arm. In terms of the shoe itself, I'm not really a big fan of the shape. I think it's a little bulky. I don't love the colorway, and I get the raised sidewall, the isoplate midfoot system. That's more for performance, but just in a vacuum, just looking at the looks of the shoe and the aesthetics of the shoe, not my cup of tea. I'm gonna give this shoe a pass. Next up, on July 13th for $200 is the Jordan 12 Women's Exclusive Brilliant Orange. Now I don't actually know if this shoe is confirmed to be dropping on July 13th. I don't see a ton of information and images of this shoe. However, I'm going to include it in this list anyway, just in case. And this is a pretty generic general release of a Jordan 12. Now I feel like we've got quite a few Jordan 12s this year, with the 2 Alma Mater Jordan 12s. I have both these shoes, really love them. So real quickly, if you didn't know, Jordan 12 inspired by Japan. Japan's nickname is the land of the rising sun. And you'll see the way the upper sole is shaped, the texture, the pattern of the stitching. That's supposed to resemble the rays of the sun. And when you see orange on the shoe, the mudguard, it also comes in that faux lizard skin, which is pretty typical of a Jordan 12. The Jordan 12 also usually come with a full-length Izumia unit with a Phylon midsole. Phylon, if you didn't know, is Nike's proprietary EVA foam that's more lightweight and provides more cushioning than, say, like a rubber midsole or a polyurethane midsole. And the leather on this upper sole actually looks to be pretty nice leather. It's that tumbled leather. However, I've never been a huge fan of the Jordan 12 silhouette. I only get it when it's like a really cool colorway or when it's a great collaboration like with the Alma Mater 12s. So for this shoe, even though I do kind of like orange shoes, especially orange that's used like in limited amounts, I'm gonna have to give the shoe a pass. Next up, on July 21st for $130 is the Born and Raised Nike SB Dunk Low in loving memory. Now first up, I want to say rest in peace to the founder of Born and Raised Spanto, aka Chris Printup. He actually unfortunately passed away in a car accident, like literally a day before I'm making this video. Best wishes to his family and friends. It's just really a tragic situation. I believe his father, Butch, also passed away in a car accident. I don't know much about LA, I've never been to LA myself, but apparently he's like a legend in LA. He's always repped his hometown, and he's really always put on for his culture. Now this shoe, I think without a doubt, is probably the most hyped release of all of July, and probably, by the year's end, probably the best dunk of the year. Now there's a ton of details on the shoe. The storytelling on this SB Dunk is just, it's tremendous. It's spectacular. Born and Raised did a fantastic job with this collaboration. So Born and Raised, if you didn't know, is an LA streetwear brand, and this shoe comes with a leather-based upper sole with blue nubuck overlays and this very cool iridescent swoosh. On the tag of the tongue, you'll see the words Born SB instead of Nike SB, and the words one block at a time underneath. Now that phrase is basically the motto of Born and Raised, and you also see that on the toe box broken up onto each shoe. So one shoe says one block, the other one says at a time. Born SB is also seen on the heel in that iridescent colorway to match that swoosh. The words on the turf is inscribed on the midsole, as well as the inside of the tongue tag. And you'll also see this very cool icy outsole with the words Born SB showing through and a pink Nike cutout. That outsole is gorgeous. And I'm not even done. The ventilation pattern is also slightly modified, as well as the top eyelet. On the laces are the words in loving memory as a tribute to his late father, who, like I mentioned before, also passed away in a car accident. All the storytelling on the shoe is just tremendous. I'm a sucker for great storytelling on sneakers. I think like a lot of different art forms, you can tell a story, you can expose people to a different culture simply through a shoe. And with all the details, the amount of time and energy they clearly put into this collaboration, you can see the results. It is, so far, I think the best Nike SB Dunk of the year. And honestly, probably even like a top 3 just sneaker of the year period. With all that said, I know it's obvious. I know pretty much on everyone's list, this is way up there in terms of want. Definitely going to be very hard to get. I'm definitely going for a double up, double up, double up. Also dropping on July 21st for $150 is the Air Max 1 Clear Jade. Now the Air Max 1 is my favorite Air Max out of all the Air Maxes. For this shoe, it's a very generic general release. A grey suede mid-panel, leather swoosh, leather mudguard, that's it. MX1 obviously comes with a visible air unit on the heel with a polyurethane midsole. If you didn't know, the designer Tinker Hatfield, who designed a bunch of legendary sneakers like the Jordan 3s, he went to Paris, he saw the... what was that building called? Pompidou. He saw the Centre Pompidou, and that building, you could see into that building from the outside. He was inspired. He was like, why not let people see our very cool and new technology at the time, the Nike Air? So he took that idea back home. The rest is history. This color, this shade, not my favorite. I think there's better ones like the Mica Green I would prefer over this shoe. So there's nothing too special about this shoe that really entices me to want it. So I'm gonna give this shoe a pass. Next up, for July 22nd, for $180, probably the shoe I'm personally looking forward to the most is the Air Jordan 1 High OG UNC Blue Toe. Now this shoe has the same color blocking as the Jordan 1 Bread Toe. So you see the whole UNC blue on the toe box. Some people have compared this to the 2019 Obsidians, the 2021 UNC. Personally, for me, I think this might be my favorite one. I really like how this shoe looks. The more images of the shoe that I see, the more I'm digging it. If you've ever seen any of my past videos, the UNC blue, easily the favorite color on sneakers for me. I really hope they up the quality of the materials on this Jordan 1, just for my own personal selfish interests. I really want to see really great leather on this shoe. Just make it a special release, please. And knowing Jordan Brand, knowing that it's a Jordan 1, we're probably gonna get just very average leather. This shoe is definitely a double up, double up, double up. Also dropping on July 22nd is the Air Jordan 2 Low UNC for $150. Can't get enough of the UNC blue. More UNC for me, the more happy I am. We've seen a ton of Jordan 2 Lows lately. The Jordan 2 Low Cherry Wood, the Jordan 2 Low Look Up in the Air. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I know there's more. For this shoe, this one is definitely my favorite one. The materials on the shoe, a white base leather layer with the faux lizard skin that you see on most Jordan 2s. So if you didn't know, the Jordan 2, the intention behind the shoe was for it to be very premium. So originally it was actually made in Italy, and the faux lizard skin is to give it that more premium vibe. You see the same thing on this shoe. Personally, I've never really loved the faux lizard skin on the Jordan 2, but it is the identity of the Jordan 2. And the minimal use of the UNC blue on this shoe, I actually really like it. I'm at a point where I actually think the Jordan 2 Low is better than the Jordan 2s. I don't know if that's controversial, but I think it's just a more versatile silhouette. It's a cleaner silhouette. Sometimes the Jordan 2 will come like stiff out the box. Not too sure why the variance, but 90% of the time, or like 90's being generous, like 80% of the time, it's pretty comfortable out of the box. So for this shoe, even though I like the Jordan 2 Lows, I love the UNC blue. In comparison to some of the other shoes on this list, it's not quite up there. I'm gonna give this shoe a buy once. July 26th, for $140, a Jordan 1 Low OG, women's exclusive, UNC to Chicago. We've seen Jordan Brand use the UNC to Chicago colorway, or at least the theme, quite a bit. Closest one probably is the Jordan 1 High UNC to Chicago. That came out in 2020, so that had the exact same color blocking, exact same colors. We also got the Jordan 2 Low UNC to Chicago, as well as the Jordan 1 Fearless. Now, one thing I'm very glad that they did is they made this a Jordan 1 Low OG. Now, for those of you who tell me there's no difference between the OG and the non-OG, no one can see the difference. In hand, when you hold them next to each other, the tongue is just so obviously different. The non-OG has a much longer and more prominent tongue. It's just immediately obvious. And when you put them side by side, the OG version of the shoe is just more sleek, it's more slender, it just looks better, in my opinion. What's not opinion is that they are different. They look different. It's very apparent in hand. And I do prefer the OG version. It's not exactly the same as the 1985 cut. The 1985 cut actually has 8 eyelets instead of 7 that you see on modern day Jordan 1 Low OGs. However, the shape at least is pretty close. Now the materials on the shoe, an all leather upper sole. Obviously, like other Jordan 1s, comes with a rubber cup sole with a Nike Air unit on the heel. In terms of comfort, don't really expect too much from a Jordan 1 Low, but generally I do like this color blocking. Now one thing I really hope they get right is they just give us a cooler box than like a standard Jordan or Nike box. I think for every like UNC to Chicago colorway or theme, they should just do something special. Tell people that aren't sneakerheads what UNC to Chicago actually means. Now I know some people might prefer a white base layer rather than a black base layer. Personally for me, I probably like black sneakers more than the average person, so I'm gonna give this shoe a buy once. Next up, on July 28th for $140, another Jordan 1 Low OG, and that's the black toe. The black toe, just like the bread, super iconic, super legendary. It's a Jordan 1 Low OG, so it's sleeker, it's more slender, and it just gets rid of that ugly fat tongue on the non-OG Jordan 1 Lows. Not much to say about this shoe, a white base leather layer with black overlays and a red heel counter. This shoe for me, just like the Born and Raised SB Dunk, just like the Jordan 1 High OG UNC Blue Toe, it's an automatic double up. Finally, to round out this list, on July 29th for $210, it's the Jordan 3 Palomino. This shoe is actually dropping a few weeks before the Jordan 1 Palominos that are dropping on September 16th. September 16th, I believe that's the release date for the Jordan 1s. Now that shoe seems to be getting a lot of attention. However, this Jordan 3 Palomino, as an old man, as someone with age, starting to appreciate brown shoes more and more, I like the shoe. I think it's super clean. Now what's a bit confusing is some articles still state that the upper sole is leather in this tan color. However, images, at least recent images, it looks more like suede. You can see like the hair of the suede come through in images. I don't care if it's leather or suede. Technically, suede is just a form of leather. I think it looks nice regardless. So like I said before, this shoe comes with a tan base layer with brown or Palomino elephant print. It's a very unique looking shoe. You don't see it often. I feel like this is one of those shoes you either hate it or you love it. And since this shoe is not an OG colorway, it does come with a Jordan cutout on the outsole. Makes sense. I'm not one of those people that think you have to have Nike Air on the booty as well as everywhere, just like the OGs. I think it's a good differentiation between an OG colorway and a non-OG colorway. With all that said, the Jordan 3, one of the more comfortable Jordans, at least from 1 to 14, or an old man like myself who really appreciates brown, definitely giving this shoe a double up. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what shoes on this list you would double up on and which ones you just think are trash and you would definitely pass on. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.